Well, welcome again to Exultemus, and I want to thank you for coming. Come, let us sing to the Lord. That's what Exultemus means. And what a beautiful weekend for it, Divine Mercy Weekend. So just a beautiful way to celebrate God's abundant mercy for us. So I'd like to spend tonight just to reflect on our own relationship with mercy, perhaps our own more human relationship with mercy. So to start, would invite you to just take a second to think about, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of mercy? Just think for a second. So for myself, as I was preparing for a talk on mercy, I did what anyone would do, and I Googled it, what the definition is exactly, so we could know. And the definition of mercy is compassion or forgiveness shown towards someone whom it is within one's power to punish or harm. I'll read that one more time. Mercy is compassion or forgiveness shown towards someone whom it is within one's power to punish or harm. So before I looked up that definition, when I think about mercy, I kind of see this image. I see one person with their arms crossed and a stern look on their face, and they're standing above somebody else who's down on their knees with their hands folded. That's the first thing I think of when I think mercy. But that's really abstract. We need to get a little more specific here. So I made myself dig a little bit deeper, and this is what I thought of. Mercy is getting pulled over and receiving a warning instead of getting a ticket. Mercy is a teacher giving me an extra day for an assignment that I just totally forgot about. Mercy is my home parish listening to 8th grade me work through the learning curve of learning how to play for Mass. Because believe me, it took a while to get where I am today. So that is mercy. And even these examples, they're still pretty easy. They're still pretty on the surface. So I'm like, all right, I gotta dig even deeper. And it brought me all the way back to high school. And in high school, my best friend and I hung out every single weekend, without fail. One weekend, we had plans, as usual, but then something else came up, this opportunity to hang out with my gymnastics team. And knowing that she would be disappointed if I bailed on her, I instead lied to her and said, my parents said we can't hang out tonight. And of course, inevitably, she found out. And it did get messy for a little bit, but in the end, she chose to have mercy on me. And we're still really close friends to this day. That is mercy. But these examples, these are all times when I have been shown mercy. And when I think about mercy in that light, I'm really thankful for it. It comes with this feeling of relief because I know that I didn't get what I deserved. I can be so quick to ask for mercy. But what about when we flip it? What about when it comes to having mercy on others? Because that can be a totally different story. For example, when my sister borrows my favorite shirt again without asking. Or when a teammate forgets to show up at my race time to hold my blocks for me at the starting line. Or when that same best friend of mine started dating a guy we both agreed that we would never, ever date. Because, mercy is this two-way street. But one side of the street is much more comfortable than the other side. Plain and simple, it's just much easier to receive an undeserved gift than it is to treat someone else in a way that they don't deserve. But I think that right there is the crux of mercy. It isn't deserved. And we live in this world where we're so obsessed with fairness as human beings, but mercy is the total opposite. Mercy isn't fair. That's kind of the whole point. Yet, mercy is exactly what we are called to. Jesus teaches us this over and over again. Think of the woman caught in adultery. She did not deserve compassion. She deserved punishment for her sin. But Jesus treated her with mercy. Yet, how often am I ready to throw stones at others for their sins? Think of the prodigal son. After squandering that inheritance, he definitely did not deserve to be received back with love, especially with a party. Come on, by his father. As much as I'd like to believe that I would respond like the father, let's be real, most of the time I'd probably be more like the upset brother. It's just so much harder to have mercy on someone else if they don't deserve it. It's just not fair. But again, that's the whole point of mercy, that it's not fair. If we only have mercy on others when it's fair and deserved, we're not merciful at all. Jesus says this in the book of Luke. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners do the same. And if you lend to those from whom you hope to receive, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners to receive as much again. But love your enemies and do good and lend, expecting nothing in return. And your reward will be great, and you will be sons of the Most High, for he is kind to the ungrateful and to the selfish. Be merciful, even as your Father is merciful. That comes from Luke chapter 6. But it's not fair. It's not fair to be kind to the ungrateful and the unselfish. But you know what else wasn't fair? Is for God to be kind to me. So I will be the first to admit that I'm ungrateful and selfish at times too. And well, how can I ask God to be merciful to me yet refuse to be merciful to others? I can't. I just simply can't. So Jesus also tells us in the book of Matthew that the measure with which you measure will be measured out to you. In another translation, this reads, with the judgment you pronounce, you will be judged, and the measure you give will be the measure you get. If you ask me, I think that is one of the most convicting passages in the entire Bible. And I actually want to wrap up my reflection right there, kind of leave it hanging right there, but allow you to continue that reflection on your own, applying this reflection on mercy to your own life. So the scripture passages that I mentioned are actually listed right on the back corner of the worship aid to continue this reflection. And not only that, we also have the sacrament of mercy offered here tonight. So we'll have confession as soon as we kind of get the music going. Confession will be available for the rest of the night, which, talk about mercy, sacrament of reconciliation. But before I go, the final thought I want to leave you with is that as much as we might struggle with mercy in our humanness, whether it's giving mercy or receiving mercy from others or from God, to remember that being merciful is not a struggle for Jesus at all. He is abundantly and exponentially, overwhelmingly, infinitely merciful day in and day out, no matter what, no questions. He's not the man standing over with his arms crossed. He's standing there with his arms wide open, just waiting for you to come to him. Sacred Heart of Jesus, have mercy on us.